Have you ever wondered how you could get your little kid to do yoga? Usually when people think about coming to a yoga class, they picture everyone's seated, it's quiet, and it's very zen. And I just like to pop in here and let you know that a toddler yoga class is not like that. It is definitely high energy, very active, very loud, and that's totally okay. It's totally expected. It's the way I structure the class. And so I thought I would pop in and just give you a little bit of reassurance on that. I have a lot of parents that reach out and say, hey, you know what, I have my 2-year-old or my 3-year-old, and I'm not sure whether or not they are ready to do yoga. And my big thing with yoga in general as a practice is it's just about showing up and doing what feels good for you and what feels right in your body. The same thing goes for somebody that's little. They are very present. They're very in tune with how they're feeling in that moment. If you've ever been with a child that's having a tantrum or is just incredibly upset about something, it's really just where they're at in that time, in that moment. And it can be really difficult to feel like you can have any control of it, right? In yoga classes, I definitely don't want anyone to feel like they have to try to wrangle their kid in or they need to try to get their child to sit still with them to participate in the class. If you show up and your kiddo is running all around and they're not necessarily looking like they're participating in the group or in the circle, it's fine. What you need to do as the adult is just simply model what it is that we're doing, model following instructions that I am cueing and giving. But as far as trying to, reach for them, grab them, pull them in and help them like participate, if they're not feeling it, it's fine. I feel like that with my own yoga practice. Sometimes I show up and I think, man, I just don't feel like doing this today. Or, maybe I think, I know I feel like I need a higher energy or I want to do a workout, but I just feel like chilling and relaxing, right? So it's the same thing with kids. If they show up and they need to let their energy out and run and move, they need to do that because that energy has to come out somehow. And it's better to come to a safe space like the yoga class and allow them the freedom to move. And again, it might just be looking like running around the room, but it's letting out that energy. And the energy, again, has to come out some way. So you either let it out in that safe and supportive way, or it may manifest later on as a tantrum or some sort of outburst because they're feeling really overwhelmed. So I like to offer the space in the classes to just allow the child to do what feels good for them. And it's not a judgment space. So we've all been there. I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Trust me, I've been the mom out in public or out somewhere that, the kids are freaking out and you feel like there's nothing you can really do to bring that energy down or bring that level down. We've all been there. So if you show up and your child is feeling like they're having an outburst or you feel like, they're not paying attention and they're not listening, you don't need to feel embarrassed about it. Again, we've all been there. There's no judgment in this space. And again, I just like to be really, really upfront about the class. I set it up specifically as a 4-week series because that is developmentally appropriate for the age group, especially, a preschool age child or younger. They really, really thrive on having that consistent structure. They know what's coming. It can take those 4 weeks for them to be comfortable with the space, me as an instructor, the other kids in the class, the other parents and adults in the class. So they may show up and you may think, well, they're not really listening or they're not really doing yoga. They're just running around. And it's okay. They actually are still absorbing. They are still listening. It can take them all 4 weeks to finally come back to the group and say, hey, you know what? I am going to do that butterfly song or I'm going to try that tree pose, right? But if they don't do it for the first few times, that's totally fine. As long as you as an adult are in there modeling and participating. I'm there as the instructor to lead the class, guide the class, give positive reinforcement. If your child is running around like a crazy person, it's fine. I'm not going to really draw attention to it because that might make the other kids kind of tune into that and think, well, little Johnny's getting all the attention because he's running all around, so maybe I'll do that too, right? So I do use developmentally appropriate practice as far as how I speak to the kids, how I set up the class, so that we all feel comfortable, we all feel supported. And again, there isn't that judgment of feeling like, well, my kid is the bad kid, right? There isn't that, because coming to yoga class is purely showing up and meeting yourself where you are at that day, at that moment. So that may mean, they come in and want to run and get the wiggles out, like I mentioned. That's what they need. And I offer a safe space to do that, okay? In the studio space for my toddler classes, I always have the outlets covered. So you'll see there's outlets covered. I try to put any chairs or tables that might be in the room away. I will put blankets over areas that I don't think that I really want the kids to play around with, so it doesn't look like there's a lot of distractions. I do use props throughout the class, but I mix them in and out. So we'll start without a mat out, and then it'll just be an open room. We'll bring props in, and then we'll bring the mats out later, because those things can just be distractions. So I just like to give the kids kind of that open, free range to do what they need to do, how they feel, and they do have a lot of fun with it. And even if the full series you think, man, my kid didn't do anything, they just ran around, you will be amazed when you go home or in a few weeks later that they do start doing one of the activities or singing one of the songs, and you think, holy cow, I didn't even realize they were actually listening or paying attention, but they are. And it's pretty amazing that that's how they learn. They learn by observing and absorbing what's happening around them. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to follow everything to a T. I don't expect that. And I just want you to know that you don't need to expect that either. I always welcome drop-ins into classes, because there are some families that think, I don't necessarily want to commit to the full 4-week session, or, maybe you're unable to because of your schedule. But I have just found that the setup of 4 weeks and having that consistency and that repetition is really, really how a preschool child learns best. I've studied early childhood education for many years as my undergrad, and I also have certifications and minors in child development and child psychology. So this is all stuff that I know as developmentally appropriate for little kids, which is who I love working with. So if you have any questions or concerns about showing up to a toddler yoga class or a preschool class, again, I always welcome drop-ins, but if you can do the full 4 weeks, I really encourage it, because you will find the most benefit from them to come in and have that repetition. The first class they may show up and you think, well, they're definitely not able to do yoga, but all it is fun. I have so much fun with it. I'm singing the whole time. It's silly, it's fun, it's energetic, it's playful. It's not, hey, let's all turn the lights down low and breathe and just be quiet for the 45 minutes. It's super active, it's super high energy, which is what this age group needs. So again, if you have any questions or concerns whatsoever about your child or your class, or whether or not this is right for you, I'm always happy to reach out and talk to you about any questions or concerns that you may have. But otherwise, I hope that this has been encouraging to you to give it a try. Just be open. That's all I ask when you show up to class, is to be open-minded, open-hearted, and again, just meet yourself and your kids with where you're at. And don't feel embarrassed. I mean, if you've never practiced yoga before, you don't have to have any experience. Trust me, you'll come to class and you'll probably think, that wasn't really yoga, right? But it is. It's active, but yoga truly is about just listening to your body, meeting yourself with where you're at, and just honoring that. And it gives you a really, really nice, safe space to have just a little bit of present time with your kids without distractions, without your phone. That's not something we get very often these days, right? We're always distracted. So it's a really, really nice space to just give yourself that 45 minutes of just you and your child, and having fun and interacting and being present with one another. So again, I'm Christy with Divine Child Yoga. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope to see you in the class soon. Thank you. Bye.